Welcome to Ninon Speaks Media Image. I am your host for the next hour, Ninon Duver de Rosa. As I always say, we have the greatest guest. Our guest today is actually coming in from England. She is not English, but she is coming in from England because that's where she does all her body, mind, spirit, and all this hypnosis and everything else. It's really pretty cool what she does. I love it, and we're going to learn all about it. We're going to learn how we can actually lose weight, which we've been trying to do for many years in many ways, and trying it, and it goes back on again, it comes off. There's so many different ways. We really need a way where it's really going to stay off and we don't have that temptation of food. Before we go any further, Ninon Speaks Media Image is a platform where you can actually voice your opinion. You can put what you do on there, whatever it is you do, whatever. Today we're talking all about being slim and being healthy and all that wonderful stuff. But you can be on here and present whatever you are doing, whatever your little idea is or your big idea or how to expand it and how to get it out there. So we give you that platform to be able to do that. And today, of course, we're going to be talking about diets, or when do we never stop talking about a diet? Today we have a wonderful woman with us. Her name is Maria Fuentes. And she's found a new way of trying to lose the weight, but also, I believe, I'm going to say mentally, try to keep it off. And we always want to be in a mental place, but in a good place mentally. So she's going to try and see how we can sort of, lose all this flabber, whatever we all want to call it. I don't know anymore. She used to be in other businesses, which we're going to find out. So before I go any further, let's just introduce Maria Fuentes. How are you?
Hi, Ninon. Thank you very much for having me in your program and giving me this opportunity to share all this good news.
I know, this is wonderful to have you on, and we're having you all the way from England. I did not know. I thought you were English, but now I find out you're not. What is that? What nationality are you, Maria?
I'm Spanish, although I've lived most of my life here in London.
In London. What part of London are you in?
I'm in South London, in Streatham. We have also a clinic in the centre of London, Knoll Street.
I know Streatham very, very well. My grandmother lived in Streatham, and when I was 17, 18, I moved into my grandmother's house, and actually she charged me rent and the whole thing. In those days you did that, apparently. But grandma was very, very good to me and wonderful. So I know Streatham Hill Station, and my grandmother lived on Amesbury Avenue. I don't know if you know that, but it's right by Streatham Hill Station and then Croydon or what you have. So that's amazing. So let's hear a little bit about you. You didn't used to be in the health business. You were in the financing business, I believe.
I was a total believer in all these systems and on. I was a financial advisor, had a very successful career. And I came into the business by pure chance, to be honest. We were having lots of family difficulties with medical issues, and the doctors were not coming forward with a solution very fast. And my now very good friend Jim Clark introduced me to naturopathy, and it was amazing. It made such a difference to our lives.
Yeah, a tremendous difference. And I was reading something about you were sort of doing the diet thing and the usual food and everything else and mentally and the whole bit. And you found out that a lot of the patients you actually had coming into your office, it didn't really work with them, and you were sort of going more into their minds as to sort of which brought you to the point of doing hypnosis on people to help them with their weight. Now, a lot of people get worried about the hypnosis. So how is yours different to people being hypnotized?
I don't think it's different to anyone else. It's really more to have the understanding of what hypnosis is and how it can work. Unfortunately, we have seen so many things in show business that sometimes the viewers may confuse hypnosis with magic and be scared of being harmed. When actually they're never losing control, they are listening to what we're saying, they're thinking, they're talking, they're moving if they want to. It's only really an avenue of reaching to that part of our mind that manages the automatic thoughts and the automatic behaviors, like reaching for a biscuit at a certain time of the day. So as long as we are, you're using someone that is properly certified and regulated. Really, there is no any danger.
So, just so one minute. So you're saying you don't do it all yourself. You have other people that have actually practiced the art of hypnotizing people and hypnotism. That you also use them as well, correct?
What do you mean in my practice?
I mean, you have other people like you that will actually do the same thing as you do.
Well, there are lots of people out there that have different systems. Our system is very different to anything that you've seen at the moment, because what it combines.
Is it, Maria, one second, Maria. Any chance of you turning your sound up? I can't hear you very well.
Yeah, sure. Give 1 second. Let's try that.
I can't. I don't know. I don't want to lose you though, because we took a long time getting here. So don't do anything dramatic.
No. How's that?
That sounds a little better. Yeah, now I can sort of hear you. Yeah. So you're saying you do something completely different. So when people hear this word hypnotizing or hypnosis, this is nothing really like that. You found a new way to do that to help your body weight and your health.
Yes, we use hypnotherapy. There's no doubt about it. NLP as well, but we mix it with nutrition and fitness. So our approach is taken from the point of view that none of those things are going to ever work on its own. Yeah. You've seen it. You can have all these people just basing everything in nutrition and they have difficulties maintaining the weight loss. It happens exactly the same if it just focuses only on fitness. And the reason for that, is no other than our cravings, our behaviors, reaching for the biscuit.
Yeah, our behavior and our feelings, it all comes from the brain. It all comes from these two little things up here that sort of guide us to what we want that we actually, a lot of the time, lose control of.
Absolutely. We've learned a behavior, we have repeated so many times, it has become automatic. So we need to embrace and work with the mind instead of against it. Every time we stop our body, our subconscious mind is probably shivering, thinking, my goodness, what's happening here? And driving us later on to it more. So what we do is to create a program that is created by lots of experts in the field. We have psychologists, dietitians, nutritionists, fitness trainers, I was in hypnotherapists, so that we combine everything and we involve the mind to obtain the weight loss.
So you can actually do this this is not only just for a diet, you could do this for anything.
Absolutely, to be honest, I had a client not long ago. She had no problems of weight whatsoever. I was very shocked when she walked into the clinic with this beautiful, amazing figure. And obviously my question was, you coming for weight loss, what would you like me to do for you? And the response was, you know what? I have to exercise 4 hours a day to be able to maintain this weight because I'm all the time eating chocolates from the morning till I go to bed. So she needed to burn 7,000 calories a day exercising.
Well, if you have to burn 7,000 calories a day, you've got to be eating 7,000 calories a day, correct?
Imagine what she was eating. So
well, yeah.
It was one chocolate bar after one other chocolate bar. She had it in the drawer at the office.
That sounds pretty good to me.
All that, she was stuffing herself with that. And what she came for was, okay, let me just get control over it. Because she was eating healthy in other areas. She was just so hooked in chocolate that, no matter what she was doing and no matter how much exercise she was doing, she was still having to, to exercise like a man.
We forget because I don't go out there and eat 7 bars of chocolate a day, which I probably would actually quite love to do, just to try it and see if I really liked it. I probably would. But at the same time, we forget that other people have these things that go on in their lives, and sometimes, as you say, they can't help it. She can't help what she's doing. She just does it. So therefore, she has to exercise. So now you come along. What is the first thing you do with her? Do you sit and have a talk with her? Do you explain to her? What would you actually do when somebody comes into your office like this? What are your first steps?
First of all, it's always to educate the client because we need to see what they think hypnotherapy is going to do and what it doesn't. Most of the people that we have come as a last resource. They are concerned and they are desperate and they think, okay, let's go and see what they can do for you. Once we do that, we look at the patterns of behaviors that they have, and we don't talk about calories, we don't talk about forbidden foods, scenes, nothing at all, because there's nothing forbidden in the normal meals of a thin person. They can have a tiny bit of everything, isn't it? It's just about balance. But what we do talk is about the things they want to correct. They take them down, put a little ground rule in place, and we just start dismantling the behaviors. One day maybe control, another thing maybe appetite reduction. So we break slowly the behavior week by week.
So how long, so say somebody comes into your clinic, how long does it take? Do you actually lay them down and do you actually hypnotize them while you're talking to them?
When they are in the clinic, I use rapid hypnosis. So we do tend to use a rapid induction because we want to utilize the time very fast. And if you're going to be with me 45 minutes or an hour, I want to make sure that those 45 minutes or an hour are used giving you really good suggestions. So in general, you will be sitting in a chair or in a comfortable sofa, and we will just do an induction to trance very rapidly, and straight from there we will start just giving you good suggestions, very specialized and very personalized to what you are needing from me.
Because I think being hypnotized, I have been hypnotized a couple of times, and because I'm one of these kind of daring people, and I always like, to do something that I've never done anyway, and I'm not afraid, so I don't particularly mind to do something that is different. And I'm just thinking, so when you hypnotize them and you're talking to them, before that you have found out a little bit of their weaknesses, so you're trying to sort of hypnotize them into eating a special way and eating certain foods, because certain foods with one person will not put on weight, but that certain food will put on weight with another person. So we're all sort of very, very different. So how do you actually get into their minds of which one they are?
Okay. When we are in the practice, what we're doing is reduce the interest that they have in a particular food. So therefore, all of a sudden, if you're eating chocolate like that, you will find that you're not so attracted to chocolate anymore. When we are doing a program online like what we're doing, Hypnotica Diet, and that's the difference really between buying an MP3 and doing the system that we do. We trigger the thought patterns before you even listen to any MP3 from us or any session, so that we identify all of those things, and then your subconscious affects the suggestions to your advantage.
So it's fascinating to me. And how long have you been doing this?
A few years now.
3 years?
That's correct, over 3 years now. Without doing it professionally, a bit more, because I got all fascinated into it, but yes, around that.
Around that. And do you find that other people are now following what you're doing?
I think at the moment, to be honest, especially the program of Hypnotica Diet, is totally unique. If you go into the UK market and you look into it, there is no one at the moment that has presented a program like ours. They may have a program that has a bit of hypnosis, or a program that has nutrition, or a program that is based on fitness. And at the moment, there is nothing like us. So I suppose we will say very soon people will start looking at what we're doing and trying to follow our steps.
So you have kind of a new invention that actually is something very, very old out there. I mean, this is hypnosis has been out there for years, and nobody cottoned on.
It's been there for a long, long time. And what I don't understand now is why we have not thought of putting everything together. We need to learn about nutrition. Sometimes, we are surprised when a client, comes along and says, "Oh, I have a wonderful juice in the morning," and you think, "Okay, that's great." But are you aware that by the time you finish your glass, that has become fat already? It has already become fat in your body.
Well, hang on, get back up a little bit. So if you go to drink a glass of orange juice and you immediately gain weight.
Yes, the sugar becomes fat automatically. It's different if you have an orange, which you have all the fiber, you have all the good things. But if you're drinking just a glass of juice, the sugar content of it will become fat automatically. So therefore, it's good to know all those things, no matter whether you are thinking eating healthy, and you have to keep your mind. You see what I mean? That's why we thought to put everything together.
Why do we have an abundance? I mean, it's not just in America, it's across the world. Why do we have so many overweight people? What has gone wrong with our head?
Difficult question. I think we are complex, all of us. Really complex. From learned behaviors, and you see sometimes that you go to the fun fair and you see the mom and the children having great fun, buying the hamburger or the fizzy drink. And when you're a little kid, you learn those behaviors very rapidly, especially in the first 6 years of your life. The subconscious is the one that is active. So you're going to be absorbing and learning that. So if we repeat that a lot, we will grow into an adult that is linked, having great fun with hamburgers and fizzy drinks. That's one example. Another example could be just in the moment in life you have a real bad time, you are not able to face a certain situation, you feel sad, overwhelmed, and in that moment you've gone for food.
Now, I agree with that, but why do we always gravitate to eating our food rather than sort of going out for a run or going for a swim or going for a bike ride? Or why do we always have to think of this food thing? I'm going to call us gluttons, but why do we have to be so gluttonish, if there's such a word? But why do we have to we always think of pleasing our bodies with the food rather than sort of going out or, and doing something else? But our brains gravitate to this food thing.
Absolutely.
Why?
But you know what? I don't know your English, and here we do this. I observed it as well. We relate so much with love, isn't it? The Spanish culture, everything is celebrating with food.
Yes, that's true.
You are, it's food all the way. You're having a bad day, or a lovely cup of tea and a couple of biscuits. So those missing messages that we're giving to our mind are all the time permeating, like you say, really going into that. How many times have you seen any family saying, yes, you've got a really good opportunity today, you've done amazing, let's go for a run.
You don't really see that. I mean, there are some families that do it. Don't misunderstand me. And congratulations to anybody who's watching, all the families that do go out there and think of something different and do something different. But it's just so funny that the whole world thinks that way. We think of food. We think of celebrations. And you hit it right on that. Every time we have a celebration, we bring out food. But we always have to bring out more and more and more. Who are we trying to impress? What are we trying to do? We're just ruining each other.
Yes. And I think in a way as well, we are trying to fill a gap that is within us. And that can be emotions that we really need to get, satisfaction that we may not find in life, covering things. So yeah, lots of behaviors that are really managed by our mind.
Now, if I was in your office right now, and I'm going to be hypnotized. Don't try to hypnotize me on that. I might fall asleep.
That is very strange.
Show. but if I'm in your office and you're going to hypnotize me, what is the first thing you would do?
Oh, usually one of the techniques that I use a lot is to ask you to look into my hand. So you look at one point in the hand.
Yes.
And you're going to be focusing your attention, and as I just getting closer to you, to yourself, I will just give the order of sleep, and your mind will just respond to that. It's not that you're going to sleep; it's that your conscious mind believes it's going to sleep.
So your conscious mind will be conscious on the hand. So what we're talking about is the conscious mind.
Yes, the conscious mind starts looking at the hand, thinking and getting really focused on that, and then it gives us access to your subconscious. It believes it's going to sleep. It's so concentrated on that point in your hand that when you give the order of sleep, it will actually switch off and allow us to get into your subconscious, communicate, and talk to yourself really.
How do you know when you can start communicating with them of what you're trying to do for them? How do you know when to do that?
Usually, when you are hypnotized and you have a person sitting there, the features of the face will change, and the color will start going paler. Your lips sometimes will be happier. Your eyes will start moving, like when you are in a deep sleep, they start moving from one side to another.
Oh,
In
really?
pardon?
Your eyes go back and forth when you sleep?
Yeah, sometimes in certain periods of times your eyes start moving. Okay,
Yeah.
and that happens during a hypnotic trance. Some people to a greater degree than others. And another thing that will happen is sometimes when you're seeing telly, the neck, sometimes going forward or the shoulders just falling. And it doesn't mean people is unconscious. It just means the body is relaxing, the muscles are relaxing, and usually people love it. Everybody comes out of the trance saying, "Wow, this is so nice."
So why can't we can we do that on ourselves? I mean, say if I was sitting down, whatever, and I put my hand out and I started staring at that, and because this is my own hand, I'm not, so it's from my own body.
Yeah,
You can't do that, can you?
no, you wouldn't be able to do that.
You can't.
Only
No,
you will
why
have.
can't? No, well, why can't you do that? Because it's your own connection, no?
Yes, it is. But the problem is you will have your conscious mind giving an order and your subconscious receiving it at the same time, so it will be difficult. But there are other methods in which you could do. If you focus your eyes on one point, or when I was little, before I knew anything about hypnosis, I realized that I was actually doing it. You take a pen and you start looking at the tip of the pen and you focus on that very deeply and you start breathing slowly. You may want to say in your mind deeply relaxed. You will notice that your focus is such that you enter this very deep relaxing state where you feel very comfortable and very safe. And it was really funny. When I was a little girl, I used to do it. And sometimes it would work and sometimes it didn't. And I was thinking, "Oh, what is this? Why I feel so good?" And it was so
Why do I feel so good? Yeah, is that kind of sometimes, like sometimes we stare into space and we get fixated on a place and we stare there and and nothing can disturb us. We're just staring. Is that kind
yes,
of the same sort of thing?
it's almost like that, absolutely. And the more you focus on that, the more you go into that trance. Has it happened to you sometimes, that you are so focused in one book that sometimes someone talks to you and you don't even listen? And you go, "Hmm,
Unfortunately, that happens a lot. I want to block them out. I don't want to hear them anymore. So I go into a trance and block them out. And then I come around and say, "Oh dear, what happened? What did you say?"
you're definitely going into a trance state there, and it's a natural thing. We live it all
But
the
no, that
time."
is, yeah, but joking, me and my jokes, joking apart, yes, I've done that. And it's so embarrassing because they've just said something and you have no coherence of what they just said.
Yes, absolutely. And it's only because you're very focused. But in general, sometimes you will be falling asleep in front of the telly, and I'm sure the viewers have had this experience as well. And you're feeling really comfortable, and you can hear the
Yes.
telly behind. That's the trance state. It's there, but you're feeling so comfy there. You don't want to wake up. Actually, you want to carry on.
Absolutely. Well, no, you just dropped something out here because now there's a lot of people sometimes that they've gone to sleep and they've had maybe a heavy sleep for an hour and then they wake up and now they're tossing and turning, they can't go back to sleep. So if they try to concentrate, even though it's dark, try to concentrate on just looking at one, they could actually get themselves back to sleep again.
It depends really of how powerful they are in let me see, the word powerful is how much focus they can put. Because sometimes what I find is when that occurs,
Yes.
the person's mind starts going into overdrive and they're thinking about other things, they're getting all concerned about this and about that, what they want to do the following day. And
Yes.
then it may well be that it's very hard to actually achieve what we were talking about.
So before they get to that place, if they can gear themselves into trying to get themselves into a transitional place or into a place of just staring, I mean, you know, that can be the start of it, and try to relax their minds. Because I think this is very, very nice for people out there to realize that they could do this themselves and they could get themselves out of this dilemma that, as you say, a lot of people that have a lot of worries and a lot of problems and they go into a deep sleep, they wake up in the middle of the night and then they can never go back to sleep. Then the next day they're completely zonked out and can't even work.
If they practice that, it will help them. The quickest way, you know, is really for them to perhaps write themselves an MP3, a self-hypnotic MP3, that will speed things up. So if they buy that online, they can find it very cheaply, put it up a couple of times, then and that will actually help them to the point that in the moment they count themselves, perhaps from 10 to 1, they will
Okay.
do it.
All right, well, since you've said that, how can people reach you? Because I was even asking myself, how can people reach you for this this new invention, I'm going to say, because it is only 3 years old, and I think it's amazing because I personally think that you can help a lot of people without hurting them and also being in kind of the right place to stay to keep the weight off. How can they reach you?
The site is called Hypnotica Diet. That is hypnoticadiet.com. Hypnotica Diet with a K.
Yes. Okay.
And yes, you can reach us through the website, through Facebook or Twitter as well. We are having a great success. There's lots of clients enjoying it. My clients always, when they come even for personal sessions, they get the package extra totally free so that they have support for the rest of their life. So, you know, a great thing to have. And also, you know, we wanted everyone to enjoy it. So we have made it very inclusive as well. And what I mean by that is that we are probably one of the very few programs that are offering fitness and yoga and Tai Chi for people that have real issues with obesity, lack of mobility, arthritis, asthma. Because you can see fitness programs out there, but there's nothing for them. And I used to get all these clients all the time in the clinic telling me, Maria, I can't go running, my knees are damaged. Or I can't, you know, go to the gym, I cannot afford every month to pay that.
Yes.
So we wanted to not only combine all those experts to help the viewers, but also to get all the extra things that will help those that find it really hard to find a way of exercising.
So, no pun intended, but this is a healthy way to keep yourself healthy. It's a very healthy way to... Now, how long or how many sessions would someone need to actually get this penetrated, I'm going to say penetrated into their conscious mind? Because that's really what they need to do, is to get it so penetrated in your conscious mind or unconscious mind, which now is going to become conscious, of where to go and what to do.
Well, once they start the program, they will have the first session, and within that week, they will have endless study. And what we're doing on is when they enter in the program, they write down all the things they want to control. Let's say, I don't know, I eat 22 packets of
Also, you make a list of everything you need to control, that you consciously know to control. Do you help them with that list of what they need to concentrate on?
We have a system where they can put the number of things they're eating. They will have charts that they can see every week how they're doing, how they're changing their behavior. So within the first week, they will notice changes. That's why at the moment, to be honest, we are giving a 1 week free trial. right? You will notice that from the first week, something is changing.
Something is different. Do you ever get people that don't like or don't like or don't want to acknowledge the change?
Um, Not really, because everybody wants to change, and obviously, if you put it down and you write it down, it's
Yeah.
very difficult not to acknowledge. All of a sudden, say, "Oh, I had a lady though, no long ago. It was quite funny because obviously we give all the good advice of any diet, and then okay, let's put a smaller plate in place because it's gonna trick your mind." And she was saying to me, "Well, actually, I have lost all this weight, but it may well be that it's just all the good advice." And I said, "Actually, have you tried to do the diet without the MP3s? What did it make you fail before that it has not now? Um, how difficult it was before to, abstain from eating those things, and how is this been now?" And
Yeah.
only at the point he was like, "Oh, I think you got a point. Um, yeah, you're right. The problem is, you become that person that is not now interested in eating chocolate. So that's why it's so important when they start the program to write it down. Because by week 3, they may have forgotten that they were eating 10 packets of crisps."
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, that's you know. But it's funny how our brains can be changed by writing something down, because it's so funny. A majority of people that talk are consultants or teachers, I don't care who it is, and they always say write it down, and it seems to be like the magic pen, that when you write it down, it becomes more visual, I guess, all the time within your brain. Even if you don't look at that paper again, you know you've written it down, you know it's there. Isn't that a funny psychological thing when you think about it? Just because you wrote it down, it's more indelible in the brain.
You are very right. When my clients come to the clinic, and I ask them, okay, how many cakes, how many, and we write everything. They are shocked. They have not been aware that they were actually eating so many things. So yeah, and all of a sudden you put them down, and it's more of a, oh wow, actually,
I've got to do it now. It's like actually I've got to actually oh, I've written it down and now I've got to really follow through with it. And it's funny because this is what we're taught. This is the strangest thing, because this is what we're taught when we're born, when we start growing up, when we go to school. What do? We write everything down. So it's from the beginning of time, which I think we kind of don't realize or forget or don't even go there, but we don't realize that through our whole life that we've been writing things down to remember them. And when we stop doing that, which we do when we finish school or finish college or whatever, we write less, we probably read less, we certainly write less, unless we're a writer, but then we're writing about different things. But on a whole, we're not doing that anymore. So therefore, we're losing the memory of what we should be and shouldn't do.
Absolutely. And then we need to take into consideration as well, all these rules of our mind of commitment and consistency. You're making a commitment, and all of them sudden your mind wants to be consistent with that. So yeah, absolutely.
What has been the most common thing in hypnotizing people that you've realized with people? The most common thing that hits most of us. What is the most common arena or the common place where we kind of lose track of our body?
Usually, it really is behaviors that have been taken in childhood, lost, and also emotions where we have been really, really trapped, and then we just follow up behavior. But it's so important to me is the learning from we are a child, where everything goes really. So the moms are there. We really, really need to be very careful how we go. We cannot go in opposite directions either. The more you forbid to eat certain foods, the more you're going to encourage them to eat them. So I think it's to find the balance, but that is where we're going usually wrong. It's in those early years that we need to learn. Why don't we celebrate a birthday party with lovely fruit salad.
But that's like sometimes you can actually cheat some days. I mean, sometimes if you really, really, really like something and want something, you've been very good, you could cheat sometimes as long as you don't over cheat. But I think you're absolutely right. If you keep denying so much and so much and so much, you end up saying, well, oh, forget it. I'm just going to go back to what I want to do and I don't care anymore. And that's why people make that big mistake. I don't care anymore and I don't care what people think. And it's really not about what other people care about or what other people think. It's all to do with you personally within. And once you get within yourself, which is what you are doing, hypnotizing people with getting within themselves, is actually what you're doing.
Yeah. And it's to recognize as well, and that's quite important as well, is whether you are comfortable losing weight or you're not. Because if we have this constant desire with our conscious mind that says, I want to lose weight, but deep within us, there is a level of uncertainty about it. I find sometimes guys, when I say to them, do you feel, if you imagine just a thing, do you feel comfortable in that body? In the moment they say to me, oh, I'm not sure, there's a bit of a doubt there, you know that for some reason your subconscious believes that you're better being a big person, and it's going to be tricking you and pushing you again to go into yo-yo situations. So sometimes we need to look even deeper to make sure that we're going to achieve that.
Do you think a lot of people, well, I know this, we know the answer probably, but I got the answer from you. Do you think a lot of people are just afraid to be conscious and afraid to actually answer their own body and afraid to get inside that and afraid for the consequences and the answers? Do you think that they think that they might be worse than what they are, which normally they are not?
Yes, absolutely. With your conscious mind, and some of my clients know perfectly that they are better or health-wise and in every single way. But sometimes, consciously, and that's one of the things that we are treating in the program as well, maybe because of family obesity, they may be thinking, wow, I'm going to be out of my, I'm going to be different from my family. Am I going to be affected?
Wow.
Am I going to be criticized if I actually lose weight now? If I start eating healthy? And that is so much, and there's a lot about that. All of a sudden you find them eating lots of salad or eating smoothies, and someone in the family come and tell them, are you nuts? Why are you eating the rubbish? What are you doing now? So sometimes they have to be very strong to actually have to face those things. And it may be that deep inside, they are thinking, wow, I'm going to be so criticized about it that I'm almost scared of actually being thin. So
very good point. That's and you're absolutely right, because some people are so afraid of that. They're so afraid of, now what are they going to say if I'm being good or if I'm being right, which means they don't really have their 2 feet on the ground and they're not conscious of who they are. They're living more for other people than they are for themselves. So start actually living for you. Because you could actually be a different person and people might even like you more. That would be a shock.
Absolutely. And another times, we use the fat as a protection measure. It happens a lot when there are people that have suffered abuse, psychological or physical, that being big is actually an advantage, because there's a deep-rooted belief that fat is going to protect us and it's going to make us less attractive, and we are going to be bringing, less attention from the opposite sex, for example.
You see, Marie, you brought out things that people would never quite believe or they wouldn't understand. I mean, yes, that's crossed my mind, but I've never really thought of that. The way they are, they're protecting themselves from certain things that are happening, as you just said. If they were abused and now they're fat and they're ugly, or they think they're fat and they think they're ugly, no one's going to come close to them, rather than addressing what is actually inside and bringing that out. Because I truly believe that if you have something inside, and once you bring it out, and whether you bring it out with other people or talk about it, and you can do this, talk about it out loud in your own private place, just bringing it out is a good way to do it without having anyone around you.
Absolutely. And sometimes, people come for weight loss, and you start touching those things about safety. Do you feel okay? Do you feel your body? And these things come. And we need to deal with those. We need to deal with the abuse, the hurt, before we start with food. Because if we do not those, the weight is the weight is going to be stuck there because your body will recognize that there's an enormous advantage in keeping that weight on, and you will be always fighting the same battle.
So who are we to judge? When we see somebody overweight, who are we to judge by just saying they eat too much? That's a good point, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, and more so women, because things seem to happen to women in this way more than it happens to a man, these sexual problems. And so this gives them an open door that they really shouldn't be afraid, and they should try to address this and call you and get hypnotized into a way, because you don't always have to do it about food, but since they're overweight and they've done this because of their position, so they need to get themselves back into a healthy diet and become healthy, and addressing the problems they think they have.
That is true. That is definitely true. And I'm afraid, you know, all these weight loss systems have always been focused on that. In let's eat less, let's starve our body, let's lose fat very quickly. But they have failed over and over again in looking at those rooted behaviors in our mind. And they can be psychological, and they can be just repetitive behaviors that have been established, you know, in our subconscious. We only need to repeat something 32 times for that to become an automatic thought. And then the neural pathways stay there. So we really need to engage them.
And it's funny because who's to say what we should eat, and who's to say whether we're overweight or not? Who's to say that about ourselves? Unless we start facing ourselves on what we really want, it's really nobody else's business. Unless you feel you really want to start getting yourself healthy. And sometimes, and I don't know how true this is, but you can explain, sometimes even being healthy but a little overweight, I mean, that's not a problem either. Is that a problem?
No, I agree with you. What is important is that we need to be the way that we feel in control. We need to take into consideration that we have gone into all this advertising about women with really extremely small sizes, with
yes.
And everything seems to be wonderful. Everybody seems to be happy, and that's not true either. There are people that are very thin and they are very beautiful, and I'm afraid they are not happy.
Absolutely.
So, we don't have to link happiness and joy with one size or another. What is important is that you carry out a healthier life, and that you don't losing weight in the way that you want to. Nobody needs to establish it for you. You're the one that needs to decide which is the size I feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And like you said, we need to live with our beliefs and how we are, and it's not about anyone else. It's about you.
Yeah, it's our business. It's how we want to be comfortable with ourselves. But I want to get back to your hypnotizing for this weight thing, because if somebody comes to you right now and they're going to get hypnotized, say they make an appointment, they're going to come to you tomorrow, and you're going to sort of, going to get evolved, and you're going to get them going. How long would it be for this program to start working? Would they see the progression in a week, a day, or how long would it take for them to start feeling the difference within their minds? Because this is all through the mind.
It's all through the mind. In general, there's two ways. If they come into the clinic, obviously, the first thing we do is to stop repetitive behaviors. So imagine that at 7 o'clock every day you go, you put yourself a cup of tea and a biscuit. That day, that stops immediately from that point. And the following week, the people come and tell me, I can't believe it. I've not picked a biscuit, and I just don't miss it. I forget about it. So in a clinic, it would be like that. If you take in the program of Hypnotic Diet,
Yes.
you will start feeling that you don't have an attraction for things on the first week, and that you're eating less of those unhealthy foods. Then on the second week, we start tackling all those repetitive behaviors, like going at 7 o'clock for the biscuit. So that starts dropping. And every week we will be targeting something else, appetite control. Tools to learn how to switch the desire. Sometimes it's very easy. If you imagine something that you really like, and you change the color, you can use a programming to give it a really nasty smell, it's the same, it's attractive actually now. Let's imagine a lovely chocolate there. Imagine the smelling of actually something disgusting. How attractive is that? I don't think you want it anymore. So we put lots of little tricks as well there. But in general, I've got a program online, for example, runs for 14 weeks. They don't have to wait 14 weeks to see the results. They will see it straight away in the first week.
Okay, because I know that the majority of people want to see something, boom, right away. They have to see a reaction right away. I mean, they have to see at least 50 pounds drop within 1 week. That'll never happen. But that's what they want. That's in their mind. I want this, it may have taken me 5 years to put this on, but I want it taken off in a week. And that's not going to happen. So I'm not saying it's a gradual thing, but like anything, if it took that amount of time to put on, it might not take that amount of time to take off. It probably takes a much shorter time. But at the same time, you must have a little patience and realize, I know a woman, and I went up to her. I was on a set one time. I went up to her, and this woman must have weighed 400 to 500 pounds. I'm looking at the back of her. And at that time, I was doing some diet. I had some diet stuff I was doing. Anyway, and I gave her my card, and I said to her, and she looked at it, I thought she's going to either hit me in the face, she's going to say how rude you are, and I was expecting the worst. And she looked at me and she said, you know something? She said, you're the first person that's cared. And I was shocked. That was about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. She actually drove all the way up from Los Angeles, because now I live in Vegas. She drove all the way up to show me that she had lost, and this is 2.5 years later, she lost 100 pounds. She's now on her way to lose another 100, and I think she's lost like 75, so she's lost like 175 pounds. And when you see that, and she hasn't done your programs, and I'm going to tell you about her, your program, but when you see that, and if you're not afraid to help somebody or explain to them in a nice way, because you don't know why they put their weight on or how, because you just explained it could be a completely different way than what you think about food and eating, but that's put you into that place, because that gives you the satisfaction. It hides all this stuff up. And so she's sort of very grateful for that. But there's so many people out there that would like the same guidance of that. Now, you are only in London. Do you only do this in London, or can they do this over the computer? How can they do this?
We do. Certainly, Hypnotica Diet is online. And I work with lots of people all over around the world via Skype. So I have clients in Spain, I have clients in Egypt, I have clients sometimes in the United States. So thanks to technology, nowadays there's no barriers. It's a great thing. That's a great thing.
So you can have clients wherever, so it doesn't really matter where the clients are. So does that mean that you can hypnotize them over the internet?
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, we use a different technique. We start using techniques just by talking, etc. But the result is the same, really. You just use so many other ways, other methods. There's lots and lots.
No, but you've only been established for 3 years, so you've got, you've done extremely well for this new phenomenon that should have been out many years ago. Now, what about these people? I live in Vegas, and we have a lot of these people that hypnotize people. They have a lot of these shows and everything. I happen to know a couple of the guys. And it's weird, because they get people up on stage and they say, go to sleep, and everyone goes to sleep. And do they really go to sleep, or do they just? Do you think subconsciously they're pretending, or are they really?
It can be, all of them have possibilities. And sometimes in stage shows, they have done already a pre-selection of people. And then it's not that they are faking, it's that they have already almost accepted they're going to be hypnotized. So it will be very effective, yeah? Automatically you have to, said, yes, I want to do it. So therefore, you are predisposed to be hypnotized immediately.
So you're pretty open, and you're right, because when you get up on that stage, because I did it, I went on the stage and I thought, well, I'm going to relax, I'm just going to be open. And I kind of did everything they said to do, you know, and it was really quite funny. But it's funny what your mind will do when you're kind of put into a place how you follow.
Yeah, and also, exactly, you also want to, you know, there may be feelings of I don't want to disappoint, so I'm gonna go ahead with it. And also, you know, in general, hypnotherapists do know who are more, you know, more responsive to the technique. So they will pick someone that is highly responsive to the hypnosis, especially for those kind of you know, stage hypnosis.
Yeah, the stage hypnosis is just a fun thing, but sometimes it's not such a fun thing. You know, some of them just really go out of it. I mean, completely. Now, do you get more women than men?
You know, that is a very good question. If I told you, this is the most funny thing. The English client is usually women. I get inundated with women. And only recently, I started to get Spanish-speaking clients. I got a radio show in the Extra One, Mujeres al Día. So every 2 Thursdays, I'm there as part of the team. And all of a sudden, I got inundated with Latin American and Spanish-speaking clients. And guess what? They are men. So English is women, Latin and men.
Wow. Because men are more skeptical. You know, I think men are more, women are a little bit easier for the fun of it. Men a little bit more, where are you taking me? What are you doing with me? You know, they're a little bit more sort of realistic, maybe. I don't know.
It was just so shocking that two different cultures were so different, you know.
Yes.
I couldn't believe that all of a sudden I was inundated with men from the Latin American communities more than women. So, hey, I have a nice mixture now.
So yeah, so you have a mixture now, absolutely. Different countries, different people, different places, different sizes. Is that so?
It is, absolutely. And different things to correct. You know, we were talking about beliefs and how that can stop us from losing weight. I had a few clients in Africa, and guess what? In some of the African countries, actually to be obese is a sign of money, isn't it?
Sign of money, because they're wealthy, they can eat and they can. Yeah.
So they want to lose weight, and the problem we have is that we need to deal with our thinking of, hey, I'm wealthy, I need to show I'm wealthy.
You don't have to be fat to be wealthy. Wow. That's right, because the different cultures are different, you know, different sizes of people. Because now also you've got which is maybe more what you do. We've got a lot of we do have a lot of young people that are overweight, but a lot of older people become overweight. Because they now lack of exercise, lack of, you know, I've done it, I've been there, I can now relax, and who cares? Not a good thing.
Not at all. I think, you know, as we get older, one of the things that happen as well is that if we haven't got a social network around us, sometimes we can be at the border of being depressed, and then we are allowing everything to go, really, including our body.
Yeah.
So it's something that we see very often. And others, like you said, they were exercising a lot and then decided to develop different things, arthritis or ailments that are making it more difficult to be mobile. And then, you know, they don't follow through with those exercises. That's why in hypnotic diet we included that.
Well, also, when you get older and you do not exercise and you sort of, you know, you kind of let go of things a lot, that's when you don't exercise and you don't take care of your body, is when you start to get ill, because your body is weaker and you're apt to get things more. Okay, so your body is weak and you're going to get all these different things that happen when we get older, but we can sort of prevail on it and not really sort of, you know, we can avoid it or have it come at a later time and not, you know. But, so this would be a good thing for them to do.
It would be very good. And in fact, now that you're touching on that, you know, one of the things that I do a lot, especially clinical and medical hypnosis, is to help people with conditions like IBS. So it doesn't have to be only for weight loss. These techniques can help them, in different ways. People with arthritis to find themselves they are more flexible. We can give messages to the mind so that they can start remembering how was flexibility. And actually, it works. It works. With
Yes.
IBS, in the UK, there's a program called Embarrassing Bodies, and you can see, and it's great to be honest, because they show how they use hypnosis not only for weight loss clients, but also when you have someone with IBS, for example, the gastroenterologist will send them to the hypnotherapist to get hypnosis to help them, and that's directly therapy or to deal with anxiety, and they get better.
Yeah.
80% usually 80% success rate according to some studies.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's true because it's not only does one thing, it's doing a lot of things to your body. I'm getting very excited about this. I believe we're coming to the end of our show. We've had an incredible show. Give me again how they can, what is it, www.hypnotikadiet.com. Is
That's
that
correct.
correct?
Exactly.
I
And
just got,
no, now we are, please, we're really inviting you all to try. The program is worth over $2,000. Now, for a limited time, we are giving it for $84 only, and you still get it, first week totally free for you to try.
oh, so
Come,
we got a bargain going on here. That's pretty cool. So
we want people to enjoy it.
give me those prices again. What can they get?
Well, at the moment, they will be able to get the premium package if they want it for $84. That is uh, all the program of mental programming, all the nutritional lessons,
Okay.
over 200 recipes, cooking tips, articles, podcasts, over 100 videos in fitness, tai chi, and yoga,
Okay.
all tracking programs for $84, less than a family day out. And
Okay.
they can try it for free 1 week.
You're giving the world away here. I think this is amazing. Well, we've had an incredible conversation, and it's just been, you're just amazing.
Thank
And Maria Fuentes, she does this hypnosis, and you can be hypnotized, hypnosis, whatever you want to call it. But you can actually lose weight on this. But not only losing weight, it sounds like you can get yourself into a mental place where you can actually get within yourself, become very aware, become very conscious of the world is not about anybody else, but about you. And there's nothing better than to get inside of yourself, finding out who you are, what you are, and how you can actually have a better life. Because although we get jealous of other people, you don't have to be jealous anymore. You can actually live that same life, whether you have money, you don't have money. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what you are. You can actually live a life out there of what you want to live when you actually open up and you can get hypnotized. And I think that's rather exciting. And that can all be done through the internet as well. It's a little different, but it can be done. So on that, I would like to thank you, Maria. You've been absolutely amazing. And I've learned an awful lot. I'm going to go and relax myself. Yep. And I want to thank everybody out there for watching Ninon Speaks Media Image, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for always joining us every week. And next week we have another incredible guest on, and we will see you next week. Thank you again, Maria. Take care.
Thank you very much, Nina. It's
Thank
been
you.
an absolute pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.